welcome back on this Friday morning. There's a lot of fun to be had across the UP this weekend, but many local runners have their eyes set on next weekend. The 4th annual Marquette Marathon taking place next Saturday. We're learning more about the race and the sport of running this morning. Andrew Lacombe is at Marquette's Lower Harbor Park with more. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Vicki. I'm on the bike path down by Lower Harbor Park, right next to Lakeshore Boulevard. This is where Marquette Marathon runners will come through next weekend, and we're learning more about the sport of running today and how you can get involved and what's going on next weekend with the marathon. I'm joined by two experienced runners this morning who are going to be helping us out. Just tell me who you are and kind of your background of running.
Sure. Good morning. Jerry Momartz. I'm the race director of the Marquette Marathon. I started running back in high school, more of a track, shorter distances as I've gotten older, wanting to increase my level of fitness. Then I started running longer distances, 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, and then been running marathons now for about 4 years. I've had 7 knee surgeries, so my amount of running is a little more limited, so I do a lot of cross training, but I love the sport of running. It's very easy to do as far as not needing much for, you just need a pair of shoes and the motivation and get out the door. So that's what has been, kept me running all these years.
You said so 4 years of marathons, and
Right.
Bill, you've done a few more years than that?
Yes, I'm Bill Sved from Marquette, and I got my start running track in high school too. Once around the track was enough for me then, and I got, as I was older, was running with my dog and found out about a race in Marquette here that was sponsored by the hospital. 5K, ran that, and it's like felt awful, and it's like I'm never going to run anything longer than this. These 10K people are crazy. Then I started running marathons the next year, and I've been running them at least one a year for over 30 years now.
Okay, so we're going to learn more about what you do to get prepared for running and what advice you have for some people who want to get involved. And so you'll be sticking with us all morning. So thanks to both of you for being here now. Of course, the Marquette Marathon is taking place next Saturday morning. That's August 31st. The first racers will leave from the Presque Isle Pavilion at 7:30. That's for the full marathon. There's also a half marathon after that, and the award ceremony is happening at the pavilion at 1 o'clock. So you can if you're not running, you can go out and cheer on the runners. They'll be all across Marquette on the bike path, and we'll tell you more about the course for the race and how you can help out with volunteering later on this morning. There's more information on the marathon at marquettemarathon.com. But for now, we will head back to the studio live in Marquette. Andrew Lacombe, TV6 News.
All right, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. The 4th annual Marquette Marathon is coming up next Saturday morning. Probably too late to start training for one of their races, but this morning we're going to make you think maybe about joining the fun for next year. TV6's Andrew Lacombe joining us from Marquette Lower Harbor Park with more. Andrew?
Good morning again, Vicki. I'm down on the bike path where runners come through all the time, and this is where runners to the Marquette Marathon will be also coming through next Saturday morning. We'll talk about that coming up later on this morning. But first, we're going to learn more about just some tips and information for beginning runners. So joining me again are Jerry and Bill. And Jerry, just tell me, what's the biggest thing people should know about just getting into running?
Well, I would say the first thing is not to go out too quick and do too much. And because people will get injured and it'll be sore and it'll be painful. I mean, it's just like anything. Starting slower, I would say if you never ran before, go from start walking, walk, jog, run, and kind of repeat and do it slowly, build up your miles so you prevent any injuries and enjoy it. I mean, that's the thing. You get out here and you want to be doing something you love because that will keep you doing it. So if you get injured right away, you're not going to want to go back out again.
Now, you're both coaches of cross-country teams at local schools. You work with all kinds of runners. So, Bill, do you kind of agree with that? It's just, what do you tell your beginning runners?
Oh, absolutely. The one thing that people get discouraged with running, they think it's too hard, and the basic thing is they try to do too much too fast. And the other thing I tell people is what you do today, you're not going to see the benefits of for about 3 to 4 weeks. And all of a sudden you can look back and beginning runners, it's like, say, well, remember the first day we ran? It's like, oh yeah, we just did this. It was like nothing today, and the first day was hard. So
Okay, and now many people begin any kind of running with some stretching. So Jerry, do you want to tell me just a little bit what people should think about for stretching?
Sure. Especially with the cross country team, I have them start out with more dynamic stretches before you get out, actually start running. So dynamic stretching is when you're going to be moving, like walking lunges, rather than just standing there holding a stretch, because you want to warm those muscles up before you run. And then the static stretching is when you just, obviously the word is meaning standing in one spot, holding a pose for a moment, more kind of yoga-ish, to finish up after a good workout. Make sure you stretch those muscles. A lot of common injuries would be like hip flexors, even your calf region. I would say IT band, that's another big one with runners. That's, down along the side of the leg. And so at home, we have a foam roller, and I highly recommend those for anyone. And just, it's relaxing, one thing, but just to get there and stretch out those muscles after you run is very important.
Okay. Now, Bill, you've run how many marathons?
I've completed 231 marathons, so Marquette will be 232 for me.
Okay. And so for people who maybe want to do one for the first time, what would you recommend? I know there's all kinds of training programs out there, and it seems like you're always in shape for a marathon, but what are people that want to do number one?
Well, the first thing is you need to get a base mileage up. I recommend getting up to about 40 miles a week. And once you get a base mileage, then you can get into a specific marathon training program where a couple things you want to do is you want to incorporate a long run, and the other is some speed work or tempo work, and build up gradually and giving yourself a few weeks cushion for sickness, injury, so that you can, if you're off for a couple weeks from your serious training, you can pick up where you left off. And the mistake people make is, well, I should be at 20 miles this week. Well, if you're off for a couple weeks, you got to be back and pick up where you left off. Leave yourself time cushion.
All right. We could talk about running all morning. I've got many questions because I need to get back out there on my running shoes. But we'll come back again in the next half hour and talk more about what marathon runners do kind of in the next week, what, Bill, you're going to be doing before you run next Saturday's race. And speaking of next Saturday's race, it gets underway. That's Saturday, August 31st at 7:30 a.m. The first racers for the full marathon take off from Presque Isle at the pavilion at 7:30 a.m. You can go out and cheer them on. We'll talk a little about the course coming up later on this morning. If you want to get information about volunteers for the race, check out marquettemarathon.com if you can get out and help out next Saturday. And we'll talk more about that in the next half hour. So stick around. But for now, we're back to the studio live in Marquette. Andrew Lacombe, TV6 News.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome back. Everybody knows the Upper Peninsula always has fun weekends lined up, but local runners have their eyes set on next weekend. The 4th annual Marquette Marathon taking place next Saturday morning. Learning more about the race and how to get ready for it, Andrew Lacombe joins us again from Marquette's Lower Harbor Park with more. Andrew?
Good morning again, Vicki. I have to say I'm a little cold right now. I'm kind of shivering, but we've been joined this morning by Jerry and Bill, who have been braving it. And you guys actually just went for a little jog this morning. Now you're nice and warm, so I should have done the same, but I didn't. So, Bill, you're getting ready for your 232nd marathon coming up next Saturday, the Marquette Marathon. Just tell me, I bet you have a good routine down the week before a race.
Yeah, the last week or so before the race, the one thing I make sure is I don't miss any meals, that I'm keeping my body energized. Hydration is key, and a lot of people think, the night before and I'll start drinking water. Well, that's too late, because you want to get the fluids at the cellular level and really stay hydrated. Of course, I back off on my running a little bit, but I try to keep a good pace. Want to be fresh when I go out every day and fresh when I come back the last week. So.
All right, now, Jerry, you've run marathons before, but you're not running next Saturday because you're the race director. So tell me about getting up ready for Saturday. You need some volunteers?
Yes. We need to keep our course safe. We want to have enough for at aid stations and road crossings. So if anyone is interested in volunteering, if you go to marquettemarathon.com, there is a volunteer section. There's an online form to fill out, or you can email me directly at director@marquettemarathon.com. Be greatly appreciated.
Okay, now speaking of the course, just tell me a little bit what the course is. is for the race and a little bit about it.
Sure. Start and finish out at Presque Isle at the pavilion, utilizing the bike path. We do come down, we're right on part of the course here, so we come down past Front Street and we head south just a little bit, turn around and go back and finish. And so one thing I would like to tell the community is Marquette is fantastic. Everyone gets out and utilizes this bike path, which is great. If we could just be a little cognizant that there is a race going on just next Saturday morning, it would be off the course by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But as runners are coming by, if they could just heed way, cheer them on, let them pass. That would be fantastic.
Okay. Bill, good luck with another marathon, and I hope the race goes well next Saturday. And if people want to get more information about the Marquette Marathon that's happening again next Saturday, the first runners leave the pavilion at 7:30 a.m. There's a website, marquettemarathon.com. That's all about the marathon. We'll actually be coming back here after the break and tell you more about an event that's happening this weekend down here at the Lower Harbor. So for now, back to the studio, live in Marquette, Andrew Lacombe, TV6 News.
All right, thank you very much, Andrew. And I was kind of hoping to see a shot of those legs. Maybe next time. Your morning show will be right back.